Hey, if you want to jump in, King of Paul, I don't give a fuck. I'll jump into Discord. Hey, if anyone wants to come and have a chat in Discord, it's open. Here's the invite. Boom, boom, boom. It's in chat. There you go. Let me turn your speaker on for everyone so I know can hear you. There you go.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hey, how's it going, man?
Feeling a little bit, I don't know, pale. So.
You put fangs in, man.
Not a vampire, it's a goth.
There you go. So I'll preface this by saying that, you know, I was friends with Ashton for years. I like Ashton. I liked him. I don't know who the fuck this guy is on camera. None of us did. None of the other staff are going to say anything about this stuff. And even I'm a little hesitant, but I guess I'll just keep it friendly because I don't want anything bad for Ashton, even after all the shit that's happened. But all of us are kind of disgusted with the guy. It is what it is. So I'll kind of give you an idea. So about a month ago, he's going to kind of explain it a little bit later. He says 6 weeks. I say about five, but maybe 6. About a month ago, all of us hung up our coats.
Time from
Kino.
Just donating for being a man of your word yet again.
Oh, no, I appreciate it. I always a man of my word. That's just how I am. I'll put that through for you.
I'm free and they mad, baby.
Ooh.
They so mad.
That's good. You're gonna hear it.
So mad.
Baby. Memphis 10.
There you go.
Memphis 10. So yeah, so about a month ago, a little over a month ago, maybe, we all hung up our coats collectively. And now I'm going to use the word staff. They don't like that, but they were all paid, and all those people were paid. There wasn't like weird things in the background where people were just getting fucked or anything crazy. Everybody was generally friendly with each other, except for Worski and the staff. But that's a whole other fucking conversation in itself. And I'm not going to name drop people's names.
Okay,
I'll let them tell their story.
So you were helping them build. So you were helping them build the show.
I'll give you the rundown, the layout, so you get a general idea of how it worked. So the week would start. Let's start with Monday. So the week would start. You had myself and maybe 4 other people, and half of those people, what they did was they would get all the clips. They would watch all the streams and then get the clips and clip it. Now, they were paid. They were paid. This isn't like they did it for free. People were paid for this. So how much they got paid, I'll let them discuss that if they want. So they would clip things, and then they would add a little bit of context to what it was. But before we even got to clipping and stuff, we would discuss like what content people would want. Now, specifically for me, a lot of the stuff I did is what you would consider like consultation or criticism. I would pay attention to like what people said, what people were asking, a little bit of the criticism, and then I want to call it briefing, but when we all would talk to them together, which 9 times out of 10 was just PPP, because Worski, and they're going to say a lot of stuff in here that's not true. Worski 9 times out of 10 was never around for any of this stuff. And Worski kind of explains that he's way too busy for it in this stream, but he was never around. He maybe got briefed an hour to 30 minutes before the show went live. And it was very brief, and he didn't even know what was going on half the time. So Worski was almost never there. So a lot of the stuff I did was a lot of consultation, a lot of suggestions, ideas, what people were saying, where people were going with it, kind of like an ear to the ground of like, hey, this is what's kind of people are talking about right now. You probably want to do a show about this. Like a prime example I'll give you was, and this still irritates me because Worski said this is a bad idea. So Worski just to give you some examples and see that you have shows that could have happened, but they didn't. So Worski gets involved with Keemstar, right, for the fight.
Yeah. As
an example. And at the same time, Ethan Klein, the host of the H3H3 podcast, goes live on air and suggests that users should bomb NRA buildings. Yeah. And then I said to him, well, now that you're in bed with Keemstar can scratch your back for a favor. And you should ask him to come on the show to do a whole show about Ethan Klein, to go over all of his funny shit and this bombing. And it would get a lot of different viewers because at the time when I was giving consulting, it was strictly for business. Like when the day one of the show, before the show even became a thing, when they first started getting together, The first thing that they asked me to ask them about was what I would do if I was still running my show, if I was running their show. And I said, well, if you're going to have a permanent co-host, you want to make this a business, because at this point they had agreed that they wanted to do it as a business and for fun, but mainly for business.
Right.
And I said, well, if you're going to do it for business, you need to get an LLC. You need to get you need to make each other's treasurers on the LLC, and you need to get a business bank account, and you need to get rid of. We all told them to get rid of Power Chat since day one. So that was a lie. We all told them to say, get rid of Power Chat, and literally they still don't tell you the reason why they kept Power Chat on here. But a lot of the chat will recall that if you looked at the link in Power Chat on Kino Casino since day one, it'll say powerchat.live/subculture. It's because rather than going to get an LLC because they didn't want to, or they were too lazy to do that, and setting up a personal, like a business bank account and tying like a PayPal to it or whatever, right, Cock? For them to have it all on the up and up, they just decided they were just going to use the subculture Power Chat because it was already set up and just move it over and never change out of that format, regardless of the fact that we all told them to get rid of Power Chat since day one. So this idea that they didn't know about it until like a few weeks ago and Baked said he was a part of it's not true. That's not true at all. I think even Ralph tweeted something about proving that as well already, but that was a complete lie. They just were lazy. It wasn't anything like crazy or nefarious or all that other stuff. They were literally just lazy. They were like, well, I've already have this with Kyler, so we'll just use this. And Worski handled all the money. It was through the subculture Power Chat. He handled all the money. And for a while, he was the only one that could see donations, and he 100% handled OBS. So what got pulled up on the stream was Worski's idea.
And how much were people paid weekly to do the show then, to actually set up the shows?
So some of the guys got paid all right. Some guys didn't get paid those weeks because they were like, I don't know. I mean, Ashton, we were all friends. So it was like for a lot of us, we were friends. So like there'd be times like when Ashton's talking about the cabin and like the freezing and the stuff, during that time you had the Toronto truck rallies, right? And they were going really hard, and he wasn't vaxxed at the time. He's vaxxed now. And they wouldn't hire anybody without this thing, and they were freezing bank accounts. And so he was just stuck trying to apply for jobs that instantly told him no. And he did apply for other jobs, and they kept getting told no. And so he ended up freezing this cabin, and he did get help. So I can understand when he is telling the cabin stuff, that is true.
He also
the Worski thing with him helping.
He said he said he's not been vaccinated though, but I guess this is during the vaccine time.
I'm gonna let him share that story. I don't want to go into it. That's his personal detail.
He said it yesterday. We covered it. Like I said, what I'm showing right now, we went through last night, so I know that he gets to the point where he says he's not vaccinated. So.
All right. Well, then he's not vaccinated. I guess I heard differently, but if that's what he wants to stick with, that's fine. I don't care.
Yeah.
So.
Go on.
So anyway, so basically, what I would do is I would give them. So how it went down was Monday through Thursday. All the content would be put together. The ideas for the show would be put together, and then the suggestions and the consultation would be done. And then on Thursday, we would do like the briefing, or Friday, sometimes Friday, where essentially everybody would get together in a call, and we would go over the content with the hosts. In this case, 9 times out of 10, it would just be PP. Because of course he's lazy, or he was busy, or whatever. And PPP would just say, I'll pass it along. So we would go over the stuff, and then, he would ask us, well, what do you think of this, that? And we would tell him our criticism and stuff. And he was criticized. This wasn't like ass pats or anything like that. A lot of the stuff, they never ran with almost 90% of the ideas that we suggested. And a lot of the stuff was just stuff that they wanted to do. But they just couldn't be bothered to do it, or they didn't know anything about the situation. And so the people who were paid to clip and get context for stuff and watch these Ralph shows and watch these Fuentes shows would put the show together. So essentially, they were just talking heads for the writers, and the writers put everything together. And the consultation would be like, these are really good ideas. These are what people are saying. And they would just be like, yeah, but Ralph, or but Fuentes. And I'm just like, okay. So, if we, like myself, when I got paid, I said, well, it's fine. You don't have to take, the advice that's given to you or this and that. If you don't want to, you can do your own show. But these are what people were saying, right? and this is what's
Right.
content right now. So that's kind of how it went. And there was some strange stuff, like where PPP or Worski went on vacation, and then we got paid to co-host to run OBS. And then
Is that when he apparently? Is that when he
Ashton
allegedly went to go meet some catfish or something?
Yeah, I don't know anything about all that. So Worski did his own thing. 9 times out of 10, he was never really around. I mean, he literally essentially would just show up to make money and leave.
No, of course.
I'm telling you, I can't stress you enough that the guy was almost never involved in the process of setting up the show at all. And I don't know if he is now or not, but during our time,
See, the thing is, I just found this whole thing just
This is
fucking
the sort
fake,
of shit-
and I like. So let's go through this, right? I like, just to give you an example of how I run my show. I get up in the fucking morning and I spend about 2 to 3 hours going through everything or the best sources that I know on the internet to try and find some good content. And if the worst comes to the worst and that fails, I'll probably spend another fucking couple of hours finding other content via Reddit or wherever to find some funny videos for you or through YouTube. What I can't fucking understand is why it takes two fucking retarded Canadians, right, a whole bunch of money to spend giving to other people to build a show for them. So they like, how do you do a show when you don't know what's going on? Like, the only reason why I can even reference back to points and stuff, like when I could, like, even with Andy Worski there and stuff, and any points that I reference back to are only from my own knowledge of going through this. It's not like I don't speak to people as well, and people obviously say stuff to me, but I just don't understand how they can't do this. It takes a one-man show, this sort of stuff. It's real easy.
This will blow your mind. So the first day when I got this consultation, can you give us advice, this and that, right? First thing after I told them the LLC stuff was, I said, okay, well, this is great, because they decided they want to do Fridays, and only Fridays, 1 day a week. I said, well, this is great. And I said, okay, guys, I said, this is where you start hustling. I said, you want to do business, you want to have fun with it, and you want to make money, and you want to have fun with it and make a good show for other people in this sector of the internet that want to enjoy it, right? Mm-hmm. I was like, this is what you do. I said, Monday and Tuesdays, you and Worski sit down and you spend hours going over content. Obviously, this doesn't include like major explosions on the internet that everybody's going to cover, right? But just the general, just to kind of go through and see what everybody's talking about. And I said, then you can start putting stuff together. Once you have that all set up, I said, Wednesdays and Thursdays, you can get either guests or you can compile everything, get it all formatted, write a script of how everything's going to play out with time slots, so you're not pausing all the time. Or like having, going past your time, because originally they only wanted to do 2-hour shows. That's obviously not how it went, but that's what they wanted.
It's almost like they saw how my fucking show was running and went, how the fuck does he do that? Magic, motherfucker. Magic. That's how I do it.
It was just like, okay, to basically put it in a funnier way, basically, I would be like, this is how you clean your room. And they'd be like, but they'd be like toddlers and they just throw shit all over the room. And I'd be like, no, you put it orderly in here. And it was just like that. That was essentially what it was. And then for me, at least, I can't speak on behalf of the others, and I'm not going to. But for me, that was my whole part of the whole thing. So it was a little strange. So when the whole falling out happened, it said to me, and everybody else that hung out, the entire staff, because everybody walked. There was only Worski and PPP left when we walked a month ago. Now I think it's like Kino, Shay, and Christorian X. I don't know. But when everybody walked, none of us walked generally because of, and I think he kind of explains it, like there was no bad blood. They were just, some people were like just burnt out, and other people were just like, like you're doing your own thing. You're not listening. And it's fine. We'll keep business and personal separate. You know what I mean? So people just didn't want to do it anymore. And it wasn't like a snaking. And then he, and then he does this whole thing with Worski, and he snakes one of the staff members where Worski's tweeting out shit at him. And Godwinson comes back, and since he explains this, I'll give you the context. So Godwinson comes back to do a show with Ashton, and he is informed that he is going to replace Worski, and that they're going to continue the show with him and Godwinson. Right. Godwinson agrees to, I think it was like $2,000. I think he says this too, $2,000 a month. And then, so this is what pisses all of us off, because this is where it starts, like where we don't know the guy. So he pays him $500. whatever, the first week, and he decides. I remember being in a call.
Let's have it
So
to
Gobinson
5. One
decides-
second, bro.
Bitch.
So Bish. He just wants the 501 thingy. Fine. That's totally fine. Work, you piece of shit. Yeah, sorry, Karen.
Well, so after all that happened, when they do their show, Ashton's with the flamenco thing, Ashton's a little salty about it, but he still says he's going to keep his promise and like Worski's going to be gone, and then nothing happens, right? So nothing happens. Everyone's kind of confused with what's going on because we've been all informed that this is going to be like a co-host change out, right? So Ashton and Godwinson, I guess, I don't know, they start planning a vacation. Not going to say where, not going to say how. So they're planning like an IRL vacation to have fun. They are real life friends. They've met up before. And they're excited. And so Ashton's getting it all ready. And Worski tells him that when he goes on vacation, unlike Worski, he has to still do the show out of Godwinson's house. And Godwinson basically says, no, we're on vacation. Like, Worski didn't do that. When he went on vacation, he didn't do that for him. He can just get a co-host. So then Worski basically tells Ashton, well, if you leave, I'm replacing you with Jesse from Pot Off. And this causes Ashton to freak out, cancel the whole thing, and like want to basically kiss Worski's ass, and in a weird way. So we all kind of were like, what the fuck? So we just kind of started saying, well, we're kind of done with the show anyways. We'll still be friends, everything like that. And this guy goes to Worski and just starts talking about the staff's personal life because we're all friends to Worski. So when one of the staff members decides to tweet out a joke at Worski starts dropping like, I know your docs. I got stories for days on you, motherfucker, which basically low-key lets all of us know that, okay, so he's been since, whoever knows how long, whether day one or this week, he's been basically telling Worski all the staff members' personal stuff that's going on when they've shared it just with PPP as a friend, right? Oh. So that pisses all of us off. And this whole schism between him and Godwinson and this vacation thing causes Godwinson to be like, okay, well, you wanna leave Worski. You're complaining to everyone on the staff that Worski is making you unbearably unhappy with the show, and you want out. So I'll do the friend thing and try to burn that bridge for you, since you can't do it because you're afraid Jesse from Pot Awful will replace you, and then the money comes in. So then the video of Godwinson comes out, and my only criticism is like, well, he is our friend. He just got an apartment, supposedly. This is kind of like a bad timing, whatever. And PPP basically gets really salty about it. And we all decide we're just not going to say anything. It's their whole show. And then so then they go live. And the first stream, they go live, the first stream. And the whole chat's on fire.
Solve this for 10.
So basically PPP is just a better paid gator, but without the tech benefits.
Yeah, PPP is a better gator without tech benefits, yeah.
I'm trying to recall a lot of this. It is early for me, so I do apologize. So the first stream goes live, the whole chat's on fire. Everybody's throwing tomatoes, and I'm the only one in chat, like, basically posting like Ralph. One of few. Like Ralph lost, Ralph Seething, because I was still supporting my friend. Everybody else had walked. I was the only one that was kind of on the fence because I was like, well, he's still my friend. Everybody had their own issues to walk. It become a little muddy. And then the fucking guy makes like some comment at me for donating to him. I can't remember what. It was like a fucking outline joke. And I was kind of pissed because I was just like, everybody else in our little friend group, that's the staff that helped you with your show, that helped you build Kino Casino for years, everybody else walked. And I was the only one that was nice enough to see like both sides of the aisle and still try to support your show. You can get fucked at that point. That was kind of enough for me. So I just said whatever.
I make outline jokes with you all the time though. So
yeah, but we're not real life. We're not friends. You know what I mean? Like, it's a little different. I didn't work on your show. entire time.
I understand that. I like I say, even if you were on my show, I'd still fucking make jokes.
And also, you didn't have like everybody walk out on you in a like some schism between the staff and the showrunners.
No,
right?
I understand I understand what you're saying to me. What I'm saying to you is just even if for some reason I was that retarded and couldn't do my own fucking show on my own or get content myself, and for some reason I reached out to yourself, I'd still make jokes, just like you're allowed to make jokes about me. I don't see any issue with that. So,
well, it was more personal because he all the stuff was happening right.
Oh no, I get that. I get that.
And
how it could seem like,
yeah, there's a lot more stuff to it than just I'm just making a joke. So he was just being a fucking douche, and at least to me and everybody else. So I was like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm walking too, and I hung up my coat, and then everybody else was already gone. And then we just decided, we all said, you know what, let it burn. Let them just do their thing. And then, so Godwinson got frustratedly mad and he made his second video. And that video came out. And then Ashton decided at that point he was going to basically try to dox Godwinson and all that other stuff. And in his drunken way, as he says. So I'll just take his word for it. It was really fucked. All of us were kind of like, we didn't. He's never been the kind of guy that really, at least to us, to do that. So we were all kind of shocked by that. We were like, well, whoa.
1 second. Dude. I've got a person who clearly wants me to just block them in the chat and ban them in the chat because they're just like, hey, COG bans everyone. I'll ban you if you really want me to. So I mean, they've been doing it for several times. Like, hey, everyone, just to let you know, I will ban retards in my chat who just say stuff. And if you want to be one of those people who wants to be banned, yeah, I don't mind. That's fine. Sorry, carry on. Oh, this is just.
But what frustrated all of us, and this is another thing, I do want to stress this, okay, fuck Worski, and this is why. So when the flamenco stream happened with Godwinson, he was concerned, they're not going to fucking say this, I don't know why they didn't just tell the truth. He was concerned he was being replaced with Godwinson, so he decided he was going to sandbag the stream. So he was given a mega file on during the stream, with all the fucking thing about flamenco when Godwinson was on, and he refused to put that shit up the entire time. He pretended like he didn't know what fucking anyone was talking about. And then after the show, he decided to apologize to everyone and say he just thought he was being petty, and he sandbagged it. But then he followed up by having a conversation with flamenco, where flamenco said he gets first dibs on Ralph content, which this is fucking true. I hope he shows this. Prove me wrong. So they do the flamenco stream, and then we find out why the entire argument, why Worski wouldn't pull shit up. He was sandbagging because he thought Godwinson was replacing him. He was right, but I guess, but it never happened. And then he apologized for it afterwards, whatever. And then from that point on, he had a conversation with flamenco, which essentially was, as flamenco said, from now on, I get first dibs on Ralph content. You get second. Like, you have to go through me for Ralph content. All this fucking silly shit, and then you're not allowed to mention him on the show after that, okay? And so when you started seeing them go live, and Ashton might say something about flamenco, and you hear Worski freak out going, not like that, that's because him and fucking flamenco made this stupid agreement that none of us agreed with. We thought I was like, fuck that, dude. This is retarded. Why the fuck would you suck flamenco dick? Excuse me. I don't want to get you in trouble on Discord.
I don't care. Look, so this, like I say, like Dad Speaks on saying, this all sounds like a really gay house of cards. Like, so basically, they're all like going, "Oh, I've got my dibs on that content, my dibs on that."
Not all of them, just flamenco. Just a flamenco Worski.
Oh, a flamenco Worski thing. Trying to create some sort of gay little anti-Ralph
So
network.
basically, here's how it happened. Right, Cog? He sandbags the fucking second flamenco stream, refuses to pull shit up because he thinks Godwinson's going to replace him because he's being petty. Then he goes into DMs after the show with flamenco and apologizes to flamenco for the whole show and says they didn't want any bad blood. And flamenco says, well, if you don't want bad blood, these are the new rules. And he agrees to them. And then from that point on, this is why Kino Casino doesn't fucking make fun of, well, they wouldn't at the time. Wouldn't shit on flamenco because of these fucking weird new rules that Worski set in place. And at this time, this is what really chapped our asses. So at this time, Worski basically started running the show because Worski runs OBS. He was handling the power chat stuff, the money. And on top of that, he would just show up and dictate what we can and can't talk about on the show. which absolutely infuriated fucking everyone. This was the main reason why Godwinson pointed most of his criticism at Worski, because he would literally, and this point, this is where Ashton, and I still like Ashton.
Can you be a bit more concise, cop? Maybe just give us an outline.
Fuck you. That's a good joke. That's a good joke.
And this is what frustrated all of us, because it became less of like them being equally partners to Worski's show, and he's a co-host. And he would vent about this. This is what caused like the whole thing about bringing Godwinson in. He would vent constantly about how Worski basically was just raw dogging him and running the show. And there was do's and don'ts of what he could and couldn't say, especially when the fight got signed. When the fight got signed, everything kind of really, really, really became more of like curation. And even though, and at the same time, Worski was never there. He would just say these things aren't allowed, and he would expect all of us to just know what isn't and is allowed. And he would not even know what the fuck we're talking about. So a lot of the show got cucked, like content cucked by Worski, regardless of the fact, because Worski just didn't like it, or Worski didn't think it was funny, or Worski was concerned that it would cause a problem with some
the funny thing is, right, and this is how stupid it is, you would have actually been better off just watching my shows, seeing the clips that I tell everyone where I get the clips from and stuff like that. You would have been better off finding all the clips through where I literally do a show and 3 or 4 of my shows, go for the better parts of the show and just give that to them, and bang, that's what their show essentially was anyway in the week.
I can't stress. Let me give you an example of what the fuck I mean. Okay, this one example is one that really pisses me off to this day. Okay. So Worski, for some fuck odd reason during this time, because he was like content cucking the fuck out of this, wanted to do. I don't even know if he did this. I don't think he did. He might have. So maybe chat can remember this if you're a Kino Casino watcher. So Worski decided he wanted to change the tune. He wanted to listen to Keemstar and change the tune of the show into a locale light video game show, which was the dumbest shit I heard. Right. And I said, fine. You want me to try to give you consultation on this fucking idea? Because he wasn't going to budge. So I said, well, let's see what's going on right now. And I looked, and I said, well, you have Diablo Immortal going on.
Say this again. So he wanted to turn, Kino Casino into a game show, as in gaming, like a game stream.
Like a light locale, like a light locale mainstream video game criticism show.
So it's going to be so it's going to be criticizing locales and gaming.
Sorta, yeah. It was the way he described it. It's really dumb. So I tried to take what he said, and this was my consultation idea when he suggested it that week. I said, okay, well, let's look. I said, all right, here's what's going on, Worski. You have Diablo Immortal is blowing up. Ted Cruz is supposed to do an interview with Asmongold really soon. That's a good topic to cover. You can go over all that stuff with Bellior. That's fine. You can even reach out to these guys and invite them on the show. They might not know who you are, but you have enough audience that one of these guys might come on and talk about it. And then I said, you also have Actman versus Quantum TV, right? I said, Actman, you can reach out to one of these two and get an interview with one of these two, either Actman or Quantum. I said, it'd be more funny to get Quantum and just let him talk, because Quantum's crazy. Quantum's a crazy dude. And I was like, and you could just get this guy on, because Asmongold that same week got an interview with Actman on Twitch TV. And this sounded like a good idea to me. I said, either get Quantum TV on, or one of these guys about Diablo Immortal, and shit all over it. And your audience isn't going to like it. One
second. So for the chat, Solvis, I think, is correct. So basically, it's just subcultured, but with lolcows.
Yeah.
Right.
And so this is what Worski suggested after Keemstar was like, clean up your shit. And so, but he wasn't budging. I said, your audience isn't this kind of audience. They're not going to like this. But if you're going to try, at least a Quantum TV interview would be the best idea. This fucking idiot didn't even know what the fuck I was talking about. You know what he fucking says to me, Cog? I swear to God. He goes, well, actually, I was thinking we could just bring up some Review Tech USA videos to talk about Richard. And I just sit there silent. I go, what? And he's like, let's talk about Review Tech USA and DSP. And I'm like, what? Why? And he's like, well, why not? And I'm like, because who gives a fuck about Review Tech USA or fucking DSP shit? What are you going to talk about? DSP's
I love talking about DSP shit in my show. What are you talking about? But then again, like I say,
I mean,
it's
yeah,
because
but it's
I love
like-
talking about lolcows. So if and DSP's got that constant DSP grift, and every so often it just gets better. Apparently, his whole arc right now apparently something to do with he goes to bed at night and he keeps his cat in his bedroom or something like that, which means he's essentially abusing his cat, which has had like a urinary tract infection because I guess it's dying to go for a piss, but it hasn't got any water or a litter tray in the bedroom. So yeah, that's why people
But
don't like
DSP is
DSP right
always,
now.
Yeah, I know DSP is always a milking thing, but at the time DSP was doing like hats, $20, and like fucking vest jacket. I mean, there was nothing going on with Phil. And Review Tech, he was like laughing at like old Review Tech videos of like Richard and his his haters, and it was bad. Like it was bad anyways. Like the whole idea was bad, and I had to work with shit. But I essentially gave them like this is the best option for you. Quantum TV will bring in the most viewers. It'll be really funny. It's the same thing with Keemstar and H3H3 when I suggested that. When Boogie challenged Ralph to a boxing match, I said, ask Keemstar to get Boogie on because he's managing him for Happy Punch Studios. Get Boogie on and have him talk about it. And he said that wasn't a good idea, which made no fucking sense, Cock. I mean, it was you would give these guys fucking gold and they would shit on it and say, no, we're going to talk about
I know. Trust me, there's been tons of gold and stuff like that. I know that for a fact, so I put it in my own show. Evil Dead El Jefe for 5 saying he wanted to play games while playing lolcow clips and comments. I don't think he did. I think what Andy wanted to do was talk about he wanted to do Subcultured basically, but Subcultured wasn't making the money, so he decided to talk about lolcows, which can make a lot of money because you're talking about drama. So he talks about the drama, but he also wants to go back to Subcultured, but he wants to maintain that cash. So if he can get the audience into talking about that sort of stuff, and he can get some good donations from the lolcow shit at the start of the show, 1 second, then he can obviously move on to doing the gaming too. Also, that's a 5 from Evil Dead El Jefe.
What is the 5 fingers? Say to the face! What? Slap!
Oh, wow! Wow! Will Smith just smacked the shit out of me.
I'm a bit of a different audience, Cox, as I'm a shrew. Okay. No idea what that means. Creepy Crawler. Oh, it's King of Paul, not Persip. No, it's King of Paul. Wait, so it sounds like he wanted a copy of Augie SC normie content as well. Yeah, probably Solvis. He probably was just trying to do that, and that's why you've got the Kino Casino, unfortunately. And there's so many things that they could have done that would have been good. And there's so many different. The thing is, as an actual person who's been a croupier in a casino before, there's so many little things they could have done and played off the casino thing, and they've just not. Like, there's just tons of stuff. Like, you could have even had like a fucking a wheel that spins and stuff like that has like the subjects to talk about. Like, if you really wanted to, it's just crazy.
Having to deal with. And one of the things that was really.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'll let you talk. I'm not even going to let you play. I'm just going to skip back over.
And I mean, there was constant times where there was a lot of new content that they could have talked about that people would have enjoyed. And we would give them the suggestions. I would consult them on it, and 99% of the time they just did what they wanted because they didn't want to do the research because I would tell Worski these things, or if you would tell these guys, and they would be like, I don't even know what that is, and he'd be like, what is the point of you wanting to do a lolcow show if this is just you want to rail against Ralph? Fuck Ralph Festival is over. I mean, when Ralph does really dumb shit like Portugal, sure. You know, everybody says crazy stuff. Sure, you can have a Ralph segment every night for like 15, 20 minutes.
That's a good question.
But if you want to like actually...
Whose plan was it to get me and Dan on the show?
That was me. I suggested it. I said, why don't you bring... Because I like your show. I said, why don't you bring Cog and Dan on? They just did the Portugal thing. I said, it'd be a great idea. And they were against that as well. And I said, no. I said, bring them on. I said, this whole Portugal thing just happened. It'd be a great idea. You could talk to them all about it. It wouldn't be a bad idea. I thought it was a good idea.
See, it baffles me they were against it because, like, they had their whole show when we were in Lisbon where they were just basically singing our praises. And then, obviously, when we got back, well, before I even got back, I'd already had messages offhanded to come on the show. So,
yeah. But that was me. I suggested that. I said I thought that would be a good idea. It's the reason why I asked you in DMs because I was like, hey, this is kind of what's going on. I think it'd be a good show for everybody.
So the reason why they can be so two-faced to Keemstar is because it was never their idea in the first place. Gotcha. Makes more sense now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there was a lot of things that I thought to them. I was like, that this was. I said, you don't have to be. You can all just do content together. You don't have to like have issues with everybody behind the scenes or whatever. And and I kept beating into their heads that this is business, right? That it doesn't. Don't make it personal. Your show's going to tank. You're going to be retarded, and you're going to have a problem. So always treat it like business and have fun with it. If it isn't fun anymore, don't do it or change it up. And like I said, it became Worski's show over time, and he became designated to like a Geek Thulu position. And it was kind of sad because he was our friend, and Ashton didn't know what to do. And it was like, well, if you just would have gotten an LLC, separated everything from Worski, and like had everything 50-50, literally legally, right?
Yep.
Then none of this would have probably occurred, and you could have worked this a lot better. But you guys wanted to be lazy and sit on Super Chat when we told you to get rid of Super Chat since day one. And you all just couldn't, you didn't, because you want to be lazy and you don't want to listen. And, you know, and it's nothing against, like I said, I don't know who this Ashton is anymore. This guy's kind of it's not the same guy we knew, but at the time he was all right to talk to. He was all right to work things with and everything like that. Worski was always a pain in the ass, and retarded. So it was frustrating to try to explain like why there were certain things that you should talk about. Like when we told them to talk about Vaush, Worski had like a fucking meltdown thinking Vaush was going to go after him, which was retarded. And at the time, Destiny had just cut a video where Vaush did a debate with someone about how he believes that that he's training leftists in his area to become militant so they can shoot Trump supporters in the street, because he believes that he has to genocide the Republicans before they genocide the Democrats. I mean, this is literally, I mean, there's a whole video, this is like a month ago. And I said, get Destiny on. He will come on the show and go over this Vaush stuff and this Xander Hall stuff and whatever. And the bread tube stuff, because this is crazy. And they were like, no, we can't do that. I'm like, what the fuck, man?
Well, isn't that what they're doing now?
Like,
or so who's helping them? Because apparently the next people they're going after is, I can't remember now, Vickers and someone else.
So supposedly it's this Christorian X and this Kino guy. I don't know. All of us hung our coats up and we're out of the loop on anything that goes on in the show anymore since a month ago. Right. So we don't know, and we don't really care to know. We're kind of just done with it. So who's help? So you guys aren't running the show for a month, and for the last month it's been Kino, Shay, and Christorian X. That's what they say. I don't know. We assume that it was just them two.
Basically, I think what they're doing is, I think what they're doing is exactly. But the thing is they're doing what I do, which is every day I'll just go to. I've said this a million times on my show. Kino, Shay, Christorian X, there's a few of them. There's Trigger Point as well. Great guys for keeping on top of this stuff when it comes to doing it every day. Anyone can do a fucking show like this. You got an opinion on it, do a fucking live stream, talk about it. Dress up as a goth if you want to. It's funny. But like I say, when it comes down to this whole situation, these guys can't even do a fucking show on themselves. Ranger for 5.
Hey, whose idea was it to get Andy Dick on?
Andy Dick on. Who to get Andy Dick on? Did you get Andy Dick on the show?
Okay, that was my idea. So I actually had a funny story about that. So I sat there and I was like, Andy Dick is on IP2. And PPP knew who that was, but Worski was I mean, this is a guy who used to be a comedian. So it kind of blew my mind that he wasn't really on the up and up on who Andy Dick was.
Andy wasn't a comedian. He was a failed comedian just like Mersh.
Okay, I'm not gonna. I mean, he did stand up. That's all I'm saying. This was a guy who wanted to be a comedian.
Amazing. I've done stand up before as well. I've stood up at the bus stop waiting for a bus. You know, I've stood up a million times before. He got on stage and he said a load of jokes that didn't land. That's not stand up. That's bad.
I'm not defending the guy. This is just
bad fucking comedy.
I've seen videos.
So I watch a ton of videos online where I see bad fucking comedians fail on stage, and I'm just like sat there like that wasn't stand up. That was failure, and that's what he did. And then he decided to do a show.
So he's a failed comedian. That's fine. I don't care. He's a failed. The point is like, you know, he's my age. He should know who Tom Green is. He should know who Andy Dick is. He should know some of these people's names, Mike Judge. And he was kind of unaware of what was going on with that. And I said to them, get Andy Dick on. And they were like, well, what do you know about Andy? And I had to go over all the lore with Andy when Andy did his fucking show, when Andy Dick's co-host got his wife back on coke and she killed herself, which caused the guy to like go in a whole fucking situation with that. In Josh Libowitz. And so I suggested him, I said, get Andy Dick on. That would be fucking great. Andy Dick would be huge for the show. I said, that'd be an awesome idea. I thought that was funny. And they did take that advice. They reached out to him. Andy was all about it. They had to pay Andy Dick. Obviously he doesn't do anything for free. And that was how that went down. So, there you go. But yeah, so funny story. I had to brief Worski on. I had to tell them basically who these guys were.
So was it not your idea, or whose idea was it to do the Flam stream?
The flamenco stream? That
Yeah.
that was just they were like, this is what's hot right now.
All right. See, this
That
is
was
why
it. They were like,
this is
you're talking about
what I
the-
don't
you're talking about the
get.
first one or the second?
This is what I don't get. The one where Godwinson came on.
Oh, that was so flamenco gets all wrapped up in this child porn stuff, and that was like the hot thing, and so they were just like about that because it was the hot new thing.
So again, this is what makes no sense. So, right, let's say you're paying a team to run your show for you, which is what they're doing. They're asking you to plan.
They had writers, they had consultants,
writers, all this shit. Andy, you're an idiot. You'd save a lot of money if you just learn how to look for content. Be a filter for content. Here's how simple it is, okay? Do you like things on social media? Cool. Well, once you've liked it, why don't you put like a link to it somewhere? Like, do you know when you share stuff online with your friends, there's a whole share button that teaches you. In fact, on every YouTube video, there's a fucking share button. Do you know why? Because we share things. Do you know what I share? I share it with you guys. My show. That's what it is. All the stuff I want to share, I put it into a fucking show. It's that fucking easy. And these guys need to pay a fucking team. And this is the stupid part. You're throwing money away when you're paying a team to do it, only to go, well, actually, this is what's hot right now. Like flamenco, that flamenco's so hot right now. So I sabotage.
Rules for streaming: own your mistakes. Listen to what the fans and chat want. Send messages under the assumption that they will be leaked or hacked eventually. Read the super chats. Be honest. Chat, 4chan, or Kiwi Farms will catch lies.
Yep.
Chat always wins.
Chat always wins. 320 going on there.
Oh
no, you got the donations yet. Mana. I know, I burst everyone's ears then. Hello, Cog, you look beautiful today. Good to see you, Stargaze Nights. Name not found. Good to see you back out of your timeout. You did ask for it. Cog, Andy's lazy. What you're asking to do is to do too much like work. I mean, it's not a lot of work. It's like if he was to put in, if he wanted to do his 2 hour show, it takes about 2 hours to 3 hours of prep. But it's I can get a 2 hour show done in about 2 hours, even if I've got fucking nothing to start with. So.
Yeah, well, this is another thing too. So when the falling out between the staff and PPP and Worski happened, well, we already were kind of sick of Worski because he had kind of like started bullying how the show was going to be dictated and what he wanted, and he would basically, like I said, he would just do various different shady shit, like, oh, well, we'll place you with, the Pickle Man or fucking, whatever, and it frustrated all of us. But I mean, PPP did show up every time for all the briefings. He did assist in some of the clipping and stuff every now and again when he could. He just didn't do a lot of it, but because he paid us. But Worski was never fucking there, and a lot of times he'd show up 30 minutes before the stuff would go on, and he would not even watch any of it. He'd just go, I'll just watch it live and have a live reaction to it. And it was a really fucking stupid thing 9 times out of 10 how it was down. And Worski would take these ass pats. So there's this Discord for the Gumroad that has like the top paying people in it that like love the show, and they basically gobble down Worski dick. They just love his show. They love everything about him. They pay to sit in VC with him and watch shows with him. It's really strange. I don't know much about it. I'm not in the Discord. We never were. None of the staff were. It was a very strange relationship because we would hear it and he would just like love it, and they would give him these crazy fucking ideas that they wanted. And I just don't know how to explain it any other way. And he would just show up and be like, "You, one of these guys from Gumroad."
Why did
it was just
why did PPP spurg out over Jesse wearing a pickle outfit? What's that about?
All right, so the PPP lore with Jesse. Okay, a lot of people don't know this, so it goes way back. So PPP, back before Worski was even a thing. This is the drama, and a lot of people don't understand this because for some reason PPP just decided he wasn't ever going to address this again. He assumed that people would just know because he's made the video about it, and that people would just go back and watch the video from like years ago. So PPP did an interview on Pod Awful's show. Now, Pod Awful show is paywall. Okay. Yeah. And he puts it on his whole little paywall thing. You have to pay to watch it. Yep. And he had asked Jesse essentially, hey, can I put this on my channel? And I did the interview with him. I want to do that. And so he said, sure. So PPP put it on his channel. Jesse from Pod Awful decided to content claim it, not to take it down, but to claim all revenue that's coming in from the video. At the time, PPP never monetized his videos. So PPP's response to this was to say, what the fuck? And he was just like, well, it's my show. It's paywall. This is what I do. I need to make money off of it. And PPP was like, well, that's not, I mean, I did the interview with you. This wasn't what we intended to begin with. And he basically said, well, fine, I'll take my ball and go home. And he flagged the video down completely. And basically said, if you put up this video again, I'll keep flagging it down. And it pissed PPP off because Jesse was being a faggot. I mean, excuse my language, the F slur. And he was just being a douche nozzle. And so ever since then, PPP's never liked Jesse because Jesse is a flagger. Jesse will take content down and tell you one thing and do another. And that's just, and if you work with him and you do an interview on his show, if you try to re-upload that, even with his permission, he will claim all revenue on it 100% and argue with you that it's his stuff and this is what it is. And if you keep arguing, he will just take the videos down. And so since that time, he's never liked Jesse. And Worski loves Jesse. He thinks Jesse's funny. He thinks Jesse's the greatest thing. And then Worski threatened PPP with replacing PPP with Jesse from Pod Awful. And this caused even more of a problem between him and Jesse. So when Jesse would show up, he would have an attitude. I mean, rightfully so. But he wouldn't express why he would have an attitude on the show. He just would. So when that pickle suit shit happened, this is what was supposed to happen. Jesse was supposed to show up. It was considered, they all discussed this. It was considered going to be a serious stream where Jesse was going to show receipts about a lot of things going on between him and I think it was Ralph. I can't remember. And they were going to go over this stuff in a serious manner. Instead, Jesse shows up in a fucking pickle suit and starts trolling them. And I think that just really did it for him. And he was like, you know what? I'm fucking done. It's either you. That's just why PPP said it's either me or him. Because at the time, you have Worski looming over the fact that every time Ashton would say something wrong or I don't know. I don't want to say step out of line, but irritate Worski. He'd just be like, well, I'll just get Jesse from Pod Awful to do it. Right. And, when you have a fucking douche co-host that's constantly saying shit like that to you, and then he brings the guy on and you get snaked and you think it's going to be like this one segment and it's completely not, and it's a troll, that would piss you off too. So that's why PvP and Jesse have an issue, which is rightfully, in my opinion, I think Ashton's in the right. And this is why they'll never get along. It's just the way it is. And you can think whatever you want about Jesse. I don't care. I think he has a cool setup. I think his setup's really cool with the TVs. I don't know Jesse to make an opinion on him or his content really, but what he did was pretty douchey. So, and that's about it. I mean, there's nothing else to say on that.
No, that's fair enough. So it wasn't kayfabe, the actual back and forth on the stream.
No. I mean, it was a mixture of Worski being a douche nozzle with looming this Jesse Pod Awful replacement shit over Ashton's head, and Jesse and him having beef for a long time that was never resolved ever. And and every time it tried to be resolved, Jesse's a fucking troll. So it's like fuck it at that point, So
that's fair enough. I'm going to leave it there, King of Paul. We've been going for more than 2 hours. I can't wait to get this glitter and shit off my face because it's irritating my sensitive
Yeah, bro.
skin.
Yeah, I'm going to hop off. I just wanted to kind of come on and give you a little bit of context to give you an understanding of the inner workings.
No worries. I appreciate it.
Has their own stories. So I thought maybe the content you guys would enjoy, kind of getting hopefully this kind of fills in some gaps. And some stuff. Maybe some people kind of had a general idea.
Well, like I said, if you've got a way of if you've got a way of reaching out to the other people that helped to build the show at least before the last month,
they won't come on. None of us. Okay, so
what?
I don't want to say their name. I guess I'll say it's like the staff guys in general. None of us wanted to none of us snaked on him. I mean, this whole snaking thing. We're going to use the term snake. None of us ever did anything. His fucking logic, by the way, on this whole thing is he assumed that everyone else on the staff was just snaking on him, so therefore it justified his actions of snaking on us and sharing stuff to Worski, personal stuff to Worski, like doxes or whatever, for some of the staff members. And we were like, why? all we did was help the show.
No,
You
but
were our friend.
again,
Help a friend.
if you help a show and the person's just being retarded when it comes to building the show, it's not snaking on them for saying, "Hey, put some fucking work into this." You know, I totally understand that. Like I say, but is there a reason why people won't come on to, let's say, this show to talk about this?
Because some people it's more personal than the other guys for the staff because they were real friends. I I foregoed payment a couple times to help one of the staff members going through a situation, and PPP decided to mock that to Worski and make fun of that and give the guys information to Worski, which Worski tweeted at the guy about. So it's like when you see shit like that, and none of us did anything except help your show, try to make you the best show possible, and be your friend, and support you when you were in the cabin freezing your ass off, or help you with other things, offer you money, offer you work, shit like that, and you do this shit to people, it just burns them inside. You're gonna get what you just nothing else to say about it. None of these got clout. They all have jobs. They all have things going on in their lives, and they weren't ever trying to be anything other than we didn't come together and go, hey, let's start a show together. It was more of hey, I don't know what I'm doing, and we all offered as friends to help, and it turned into the show. And
this is
and
what right. Do yourself a favor. And I'm going to say this I'm going to say this for the millionth time, okay? And this is to anyone watching, anyone out there, okay? And this I said this when SoCal Chris and stuff and AG Luck went down to Miami. I'm going to say this again. If Andy Worski reaches out to you asking you to do something to do with his fucking show, anyone out there, tell him to fucking learn how to stream. Tell him to learn how to do the job he gloats he does. Tell him to learn how to fucking do it. Tell him to learn how to use OBS. Tell him to learn how to fucking put windows on the screen without showing fucking links. Tell him to set shit up a couple of hours before a fucking show. Yeah. Tell him to fucking find his own fucking clips. Tell him to go and find his own shit. Tell him to go and fucking do his show. I'm too busy fighting right now. Well, don't do a fucking show then, you retard. Go and train. Go and do your fight. Go and make millions off Keemstar. Or do your fucking show. Which one is it? I fucking can't stand this stuff. The thing is, I've been doing a show, I don't understand, I've been doing a show for 4 fucking years. Dude, I've been doing a show for 4 fucking years. I've got a few co-host shows and stuff like that. I can't understand. And I don't make, in comparison to the money these people make, they make like $1,000, $2,000 in a show. And what do you get? Oh, we're paying a lot of people behind the scenes so we don't actually know what the fuck is going on with our own show. Fuck that shit. There are people out there that can run better shows than Andy Worski, and that's where your money should be going. Not even mine. There's other shows out there that do the same stuff, Paulie Frog and so on. You want to start donating to these people and supporting these shows, and let Andy just fucking disappear into nothingness until he has to rebrand himself as something fucking new. Fucking hell.
And that's another thing too. Just before you end the show, I do want to say this. We would with the Keemstar coming into the thing. I mean, I sat down with them. I tried to have a coming to Jesus moment where I was like, "Listen, you have direct access where you're talking daily and friendly and becoming friends with a guy who runs the biggest drama channel on the internet, who is a multimillionaire, successful multimillionaire, and has tons of business ventures off of this drama channel. If you don't sit with him and start asking him questions on what to do business-wise and how to get to that level, you are fucking stupid." And they just never, from my knowledge, they never sat down with Keemstar and tried to have a business conversation about how would you run a show like this to make millions?
No. It's the Keemstar thing. No. But right, hear me out. The Keemstar stuff is a flash in the pan. He's doing Keemstar, Andy Worski's doing Keemstar a favor because it'll make Keemstar finish up a card which he already has everyone else obviously planned onto that card for, and he doesn't really care. He's more about the KSI Wasabi stuff, and he's going to make a load of money off the fact that's there. Andy Worski is filling.
You're wrong about that because we've been in the calls. No. Hold on. You're wrong about that. We've been in the call. Keemstar calls like every other day. Keemstar would call every other day, give information every other day. He would talk with them, joke with them, make jokes.
I know.
Normal.
I get this. I get this. I understand that. But when you do these business talks, it's about the fight, right? It's not about drama.
Some of it was. Some of it was drama. I mean,
it was actually drama based. So Keemstar's watching the show, but he doesn't want to give Andy advice on how to build a drama show.
So the fight once Happy Punch signed him and he signed on and got the contract all settled with Saul Poppy, and everything like that. It became like him just shooting the shit with them and talking and like just chilling and getting to know them. I mean, he would call, Sam Hyde would call. These were things that were happening. And when you have access to big content creator names like this in such a way, and it was like, dude, you're doing, and like you said, you know, he saved his ass by signing him on the card, right? And he's got 2 other fights signed up with Happy Punch Studios after this fight already. So he's already listed for about a year. He's got a year's worth of fight coming up for Warski. Yeah. And so when you have this kind of connection where you're basically giving Keemstar the favor, like you said, I sat there and said, well, it's business. So favor for favor. This is normal in business. Nepotism is a thing in business. Let's cut the bullshit.
No, again. No. What I'm telling you right now. So this is the difference between Warski and what you're saying right now is that Warski, you can sit there and go, oh, but it's business for business. It's not. It's Keemstar will keep him on hand as long as Andy keeps saying he's going to fight. Because as long as Andy keeps fighting, Keemstar's always going to make a paycheck out of it. So he can keep him on side as long as he keeps fighting to keep making a paycheck out of it. So it's not. Right. Yeah, he'll talk to him a little bit. Right. He'll talk about the drama. Do you know why he's not going to sit down with him and teach him how to do a better show or teach him how to do the drama better? Because here's the first thing. I'm going to give you the first bit of advice Keemstar's going to give him. Pay attention. Pay attention. Look at the fucking drama you're talking about. Actually know what's going on and don't have someone feed the information to you so it's secondhand information. Fucking hell. Go and take it on board yourself. Take it on board yourself. Fuck. Yeah,
but I'm telling you, Cog, we've sat there and we've listened to the guy.
No. Look, all I'm going to tell you, King of Paul, listen to me. All you said, and since you've come on here, and I am finishing the show here, and I know you could say more. I'll bring you back on the show, and we'll do another show if you want to in the future. I'll bring you on, and we can go through this for a good couple of hours, because like I say. Because it's clearly got more to it than I intended on when I brought you on at first. Now, just to put this out there, though, this is the truth of the matter, which is just, yeah, he's got the fight stuff going on and all that stuff, great. But the issue with Andy, and this is the issue all around, is that everything is secondhand. People are making a show for him. Andy is not a YouTuber or a streamer. Yes. He's just sitting there reading. He's laughing into a mic, and he has the weakest takes on anything. And this is because he's not prepared a show. Like I prepare a show daily. Right. So to even hear that, to hear that other people are preparing it for him, and he just turns up last minute, I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And I was like, well, you know, he's got that fight going on right now, and I'm going to say this again: go and focus on your fight, Andy. Go and become a fighter. You're not a drama streamer anymore. And if you're going to continue doing drama streaming, I can only hope you're going to look at the fucking clips, like actually look at them and actually go, this should go in the show and stuff. That's how it feels when you know you've got a good show. You can go live and go, it's going to be a good show today, guys. Got some and that's it. You know you've got some good stuff. Right. They go live and they're going off what someone has told them is going to be good, and I think that's pretty fucked up because the audience isn't coming there. No offense to you, but the audience ain't coming there for your opinion. They ain't coming there for anyone's opinion. Anyone who's building that show, they're not there for their fucking opinion. They're there for Andy. They're there for Andy and PPP and what they personally found interesting. And what you're telling us is that the entire show is a facade. It's literally what Godwinson said was correct. It's been built by other people, and they haven't got a fucking clue what's going on.
Well, PPP does. Like I said, he would be there every day. He just didn't. I mean, he just didn't do a lot of the heavy legwork. But he would be there.
PPP. PPP turns up to hear what's going on from other people and not actually find it. PPP is basically doing like what I do every day. That's like 5% of what I have to do is reach out and find out what's going on with a few people. But it's not a huge part of it. Most of it I'll just fucking find on my own because I know the sources to go to. I'm not even on a fucking Twitter account right now that works. I have to manually find everyone every day because you just start to know the names and stuff like that. And that's what leads me to where I need. The issue is that they don't do that. They don't do that. They're jumping into like a fucking conference call before they do a fucking show. And it's like, the issue that I'm saying is I do this daily, bro. I do this daily. It's not hard for them to wake up, go and have a look at what Kino or fucking Christian X or any of their other people. And I'm sure with a network like Andy's, he's already got people sending him clips from the night before anyway. So just look through them, Andy. Get a timestamp or two. Actually fucking put some effort into your show. Because there's no effort in that show. There's nothing. They've got a fucking moving background. There's no effort when it comes to where the chat is. There's nothing when it comes to a jingle coming up for a donation. There's nothing on that fucking show when it comes to anything. The guy can barely share his fucking screen without dropping a link if he's got a fucking conversation going on. It's absolutely retarded.
Yeah, and so just to wrap it up, I mean, with the Keemstar stuff, just to say this, I mean, Keemstar, if you haven't, he's in this weird, just listening to the guy privately, and all the stuff that's going on, Keemstar wants to help people. He's very much about paying it forward in his own way. Like he keeps offering a bunch of, it's not just him. he's offering like a bunch of people different monies for different ideas and stuff that he thinks, and that a lot of people, and he thinks are just a waste of time. But he just wants to see something be successful on its own. He likes to invest in a lot of shit. He has a lot of money. And when I mean, like I said, my whole stick with him and what I got paid a lot of the times was consultation. So when Keemstar got involved, a lot of it was look, like you said, you're doing a fight for Keemstar. And just like you said, Keemstar will keep writing the checks as long as you're doing the fights and all that other stuff. But you're making a relationship with a big drama YouTube channel who is successful, like super hyper successful. And if you want to be smart as a drama channel yourself, and you want to be hyper successful and be millionaires, like you truly, because this to them, it was supposed to be business and fun. If that's what you really wanted, because originally when they were going to start KC, we all said, no, don't do it. Unless you're willing to make a real business out of it and make money, don't do it, because it's not worth it. It's not worth all the problems. And I was just like, you talk to Keemstar. I mean, you talked to him already, but talk to Keemstar, sit down with him and show him really sit down and go over like your content and how to improve it, how to get better and all this other stuff, because this guy probably could give you $1 million tips. It's not every day you get to sit down with a successful millionaire in your career.
I agree with you, but simultaneously,
it's the same thing of like if you got to sit in a room with Elon Musk and you got to ask him any fucking business questions you wanted, you could learn a ton of fucking information that you probably didn't even know in business. I mean, you get what I'm trying to say?
No, so I agree with you. But what I'm saying to you is just like they're not going to do that though, because
Worski's just a lazy fuck. Worski's a lazy fuck.
But he's lazy, and he also still feels like Keem is doing him a favor, though. That's the truth, because he's obviously getting him on this fight card. Paulyfrog64 for 5 saying, they're lazy. I do the same thing for my shows. I hunt for clips. It takes a couple of hours, like you said. They're lazy as fuck. And the thing is, the thing is that the main thing that goes into making a show like this is time. Okay, so it's like a couple of hours to build the show and make sure you've got the clips and make sure you know what you're talking about. Finding out if something's in the grapevine, you find out if it's real or not. That can take a little bit longer, obviously. And then you go live and you do like a 2-hour show. This is what I don't get. It's that and it all within itself. All you are doing is talking about stuff on the internet, whatever clips you found, and half of the time you're showing clips which are funny anyway. And the whole point is it's a 2-hour show. Anyone can do this. It's easy to do. You've just got to have drive.
Retardedly delusional, bro. Worski's retardedly delusional.
Again, I don't understand how a guy living at his fucking dad's house, I don't know how you haven't got drive to get the fuck out of your dad's house. You should be waking up every day trying to plan the best fucking shows in the world. And this is why you get these fucking long ass 5-6 hour shows. But it's also because they'll make money during it too. So.
Well, Worski's a fucking retard and he's lazy. Look, this guy, when the Salt Poppy thing was going on, before any of you guys knew about it, we already knew who he was fighting, and we were watching his videos. And he's asking me all these questions because I've been training. I've been training boxing. Now it's a hobby, but I was training to fight Ralph, and I was doing amateur fights already. And he was like, well, what do you think about this, Brian? I'm watching the Salt Poppy guy, and I'm like, this guy's gonna fucking destroy you, Worski.
So
like, this guy can box.
Is that still your opinion on this, that he'll win, Salt Poppy?
Yes.
Yeah, no.
The guy uses his weight. He fights in a dirty box. I mean, you can watch him. The guy.
I've already watched him. We've done it. We put it on Scrapcast.
Yeah. But he does like he uses his weight. He likes to do a lot of the stiff arming. It's very classic George Foreman style. Yeah. He'll stiff arm your shoulders. He kind of puts you off balance a little bit, then hits you. You can watch him. Once he gets a rhythm, that's what he does. And he fights just like that. And he does a lot of stiff arming and a lot of stopping the motions and getting you displaced. And I explained that to Worski. So this guy's bigger than you. He's going to raw dog bully you. And he likes to fight. He likes to fight with his weight. And you're going to have to deal with a guy who's going to shift on you. I was like, the only way you're going to stop that is establishing the jab. You're going to have to jab, and keep this guy at a distance. And you're going to have to keep him. You're going to have to fight in that kind of manner.
I think his main thing is going to be his conditioning. I think you're going to see Andy take a blow to the body, and you're going to see him buckle a bit because he's not actually got his conditioning at all for his stomach. He's been too busy. He's been too busy working on his fucking arms, and it's like, oh yeah, look at my arms. You want
to laugh?
No, but
laugh.
No, but
I'll blow your mind.
Hear me out, King of Paul. Hear me out. Let me fucking speak for a second. Jesus. So Andy Warski has been working on his fucking arms. If anyone knows anything about throwing a fucking punch, it's not about your arms. It's about your back and your fucking legs, and it's all about the power comes from your legs at a punch, right? And Andy's working on his fucking. Oh, look how big my arms are looking now. Look how big. It doesn't matter, Andy. Can you throw a fucking punch? Have you got the power in your legs and your waist to push it through? It's great having big arms, but if you can't use them, bro. So that's all I wanted to say.
So Cog, you want to laugh? Well, just to wrap this up for everyone in the chat. So there was a moment where Warski freaked out and wanted to fire his coach. Okay. And his reasoning for it is because he believes that he doesn't need to train for this boxing thing because the Salt Poppy guy was just like fat.
Yeah.
And we were all like, do not fire your coach at all. And he's like, well, my coach is retarded and I don't even need to train anymore. I could just go to the gym and work out and I'll be ready for the fight. And he's like, because I know the fundamentals now. This was like 1 month in. It's like 1 month in. He's like, I know the fundamentals and I can just work out at the gym and that's all I need. I don't need to spar or anything because he's fat and I'll just beat him because I'll outrun him in the ring. That was his fucking brain take logic. And I just was like, you're getting your ass beat. And he's like, well, I'm still getting paid. It's like,
that's what I'm saying to you. Andy's going to lose the fight. He just wants to get paid. And this is what I'm saying to you. It's a paycheck to him.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'll let you go, buddy. Thank you so much. Didn't mean to interrupt you so much. I just wanted to get stuff out before you wrapped up the show. Because I know it's a lot of the stuff. A lot of people don't know it. So
no, that's fair. You apparently filled in a lot of gaps for people. So that's good. That's good.
I hope so. I hope no one's like this fucking guy. This is everything I said is pretty much all the stuff behind the scene. There was nothing crazy or nefarious or autistic. It was just writers wrote the show and they ran with it. That's essentially it.
And again, I just can't stand people who get people to write their show for them. That's my personal take. Again, I've always had this issue with people since I fucking started doing YouTube. You're going to do something, make it your project, make it yours. And if it's your show, do that. If you've got other people as co-hosts and stuff, totally fine if they're contributing towards building the show as well, because you have co-hosts then. But if you've got a load of people behind the scene doing it and you just turn up and got a fucking clue what's going on, it's going to be a shit show.
Yeah.
Like it has been.
But we picked on the guy. None of us ever deserved any of the shit that was going on. Godwinson was just trying to help a guy out who told us that he was sick of Warski and he was miserable and he wanted out. And he gave him an option. He gave him the option the first few bridge. He burned it for him as a friend and said, okay, now we can do the show. And PPP rejected all of that. And now we're hearing on tonight, we heard last night or whatever on this, that Warski supposedly bought all this equipment and saved him. None of us knew any of this stuff. Yep. This is the first time we're hearing this story. So it might be true. It might not. I don't know. But if it's true, it makes him look even worse because he talked a lot of shit about Warski to us privately all the time. That's
another thing actually. Quickly, so do you know when he got drunk with? You weren't talking to him as of a month ago. So the other night where he got drunk with PPP and Dox Godwinson in a video.
Yes, that shit was scummy.
Shouldn't really be drinking while he's obviously training, but anyway. I'll say goodbye to you though, because otherwise we're never going to win this one. So King of Paul, I'll see you later. Bye bye.
All right, see you, bro.